Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you about our token. This talk is not about engineering per se, it's more about an engineered token. Special thanks go to Michael Zargam, who invited me here. And first of all, who is Sweetbridge? Sweetbridge, we are the supply chain guys. So our main goal or our ultimate goal is to make international commerce more liquid. And we want to do that by tokenizing the economy. And my talk today is about how can you tokenize an economy, and this is our take on that problem. About myself, I'm Micha Roon, and I'm a software developer by trade and a blockchain developer since 2015. And I have participated in the design of this token, and it's a lot of work and it's a lot of fun. So let's start. Our rewards token, this is what this talk is about, is how do you get rewarded for spending your money in an economy. And according to a study from Capgemini from 2014, the main three or main pain points in any loyalty program or reward system are reward relevance. The average household in the US participates in 21 loyalty programs. And most often, they don't know which loyalty program they're participating anymore. There is a lack of value. Oops. Relevance. Value, sorry. There is a lack of value in the loyalty tokens. People don't know what they can get out of loyalty. They don't know what rewards are given to them, and it's often very complicated to find out. And the tokens are very often not usable in a seamless way. It's difficult to use the token on your desktop or on your mobile phone or in the store. There are different tokens or different loyalty points for different uses, and it makes the whole thing difficult. Which brings us to the last part, which is this causes a lot of customer service calls and a lot of customer service burden for the company who issues the loyalty points. So what can we do better? At Sweetbridge, we have designed a token that's main goal is to provide value for everyone, value for the sellers, because they have an additional asset, and value for the buyers, the customers, because they also have, They also have an additional asset, and they get rewarded. Oops. They get rewarded because they spend their money in the economy. So we want a system where sellers are incentivized to grow the economy, to provide more cash back for the customers of the economy. We want a system where the customers are incentivized to spend their money within the economy and not outside of it, which is the goal of any loyalty program. And we do that by giving back some of the money that the user spent. I'm getting to that right afterwards. And we want a system that rewards investors for giving us the money beforehand in order to develop the system, because the token will gain value as the system grows. So how does that work? We have the sellers and, of course, the buyers. Now, these are the main two stakeholders, and what we will look at in this part is how does the money flow from the buyer to the seller and then back to the buyer. The first step could be, it is an optional step, but to distribute some Sweetcoin to the buyers to incentivize them to participate in the economy. As I said, it's an optional step. Let's remove it. Then the buyers have to spend some money. They spend euros with the sellers to get product and services. The sellers put a portion of that money that they got from the buyers into the rewards pool. And this is the pool of money that will be used for redistribution to the buyers. The buyers have to stake or lock up their Sweetcoin in order to participate. The way this works is you lock up your Sweetcoin, you make a purchase, and if your Sweetcoin is still locked up 30 days after your purchase, you get a cashback. That's the basic principle. Your cashback is variable. You don't know actually how much you will get because it depends on a variety of factors. But what you do know is that you will never get more out of the system than you actually spent. So you cannot get 110% discount on your purchase. Which also means that if you don't buy anything, you will not get rewarded at all. And the formula for computing the cashback is pretty simple. It's at any given time, the reward pool divided by all the activated Sweetcoin gives the cashback value for each Sweetcoin that is active. And then this value multiplied by the number of Sweetcoin the individual buyer holds determines their cashback. In addition to this cashback, the sellers might want to distribute some Sweetcoin to the buyers. And these Sweetcoins, they come from a mining process that we'll go into just afterwards. Giving the Sweetcoin is a good idea because it incentivizes the buyer to continue buying. The more Sweetcoin they have, the more they are incentivized to buy because the more cashback they will get, and it's a virtuous cycle. This solves actually the main contention point of the loyalty program because the token is relevant, you get a cashback. And there's an interesting fact that people, all of us actually, value loss higher than reward. You dislike, in general, I mean, of course not everyone, but in general, people dislike more that something is taken away from them than something is given to them. It's human nature. And not getting a reward is perceived as a loss. So the incentive to actually buy something just to get the reward is pretty strong. There is very much flexibility because it doesn't matter how you spend your money with the network as long as you can be identified, and you have to be identified in order to purchase anything these days. So that makes the experience seamless. You can buy by your mobile phone, over the internet, via desktop, in shop with your customer card, and you will be identified. And let's go to the mining process. The sellers, of course, they can buy Sweetcoin, but I have said at the beginning of the talk that they are incentivized to grow the economy. So how does this incentive work? The first way to get Sweetcoin is with a buyback mechanism. I mentioned that there is a cap to the amount of reward you can get. So if you don't buy anything, you don't get a reward, but you are still entitled to a reward. So where does this reward go? This reward is used to buy Sweetcoin, which are then distributed to the sellers in proportion for their contribution to the rewards pool. So if you contributed 10% to the rewards pool, to the size of the rewards pool, then you get 10% of these purchased tokens. The second way to get Sweetcoin is by growing the rewards pool. And this is an absolute growth. So the rewards pool needs to surpass its last peak for growth to be registered. And let's say 10%, we have had 10% more in the rewards pool today than yesterday, then there will be 10% more Sweetcoin in circulation. But because we have a finite supply of Sweetcoin of 100 million, this cannot work ad vita aeterna, and there needs to be a cap to this growth, and the cap is 10% of the available mine pool. So if the economy's growth would release more than 10% of the available Sweetcoins in the mine, then only 10% are distributed, which means that the distributed Sweetcoin will reduce over time. Yep. I forgot an arrow. There you go. In the talk until now, I've been talking about one economy, but there is absolutely no reason to limit that to just one. We can have multiple economies that work in parallel with the same Sweetcoin. They would have each their own reward pool. They would have each their own growth, but we have only one mine and one market. Because it's the same coin, I just represented it as one market. Of course, there are multiple exchanges. But so the economy overall would need to grow in order for more Sweetcoin to be distributed. Customers will be able to switch between economies. So you can take your Sweetcoin out of one economy and stake them in another if the things you like to buy are not of good enough quality for your taste, which would create competition, which is always good for us, the customer. Okay, just to recap, the Sweetcoin flow, the buyer gets a Sweetcoin from the seller as a reward, and as an incentive to join the network. There's a mistake there. It's not instead, it's only in addition to the fiat reward. And the seller can get the Sweetcoin in two ways, either with the buyback mechanism or through growing the economy and hence the mining process. Of course, anyone can buy Sweetcoin in the secondary market. I'm standing too far away, I think. Yeah, of course. So the Sweetcoin distribution, there has been and there still is a token sale, and which is almost finished, and it will allow for financing the development. These are the investors I mentioned at the beginning. And everything that has not been sold will be locked up for 7 years for growth. If the project is not successful after 7 years, we can figure out something else maybe. There's a mining process, as I mentioned, and the supply of Sweetcoin grows at the same rate as the economy, which is nice. Sweetcoin can be used in multiple ways. It has to be activated to get rewards. So if you use it, for example, to get an asset-backed loan from a crypto lender, then you will not get any reward. There is a disincentive because the Sweetcoin has to be locked to actually sell it during the period while you wait for the reward. Because if you sell it during that period, you forfeit your reward. And non-buyers have actually no incentive to activating their Sweetcoin because the only effect that would have is to gift some Sweetcoin to the sellers. I don't mention it enough. The Sweetcoin is one of the rare tokens that has intrinsic value, which means that you can take out your pocket computer and actually compute how much euros a Sweetcoin is worth to you at any point in time, which is a very nice feature of the Sweetcoin. As a conclusion, the reward system with Sweetcoins is something that works better if many people participate, because as the economy grows, the value of the Sweetcoin grows with it. It's usable for a B2B system, not only for B2C, and it has a very strong loyalty binding. As I mentioned, the token has intrinsic value. The token supply reflects the size of the economy, and very important, there is not more liability to the seller by using Sweetcoin. One of the features of loyalty points is that as you distribute loyalty points, as long as they have not been used, they are a liability to the company who has issued them. With the Sweetcoin system, there is no liability except your contribution to the rewards pool. So the liability stays constant, whereas the rewards to your customers increase over time. And thank you very much for paying attention. And if you have any questions.
Good news, we do have time for questions. Anyone in the room? Yes, I'll start with this.
Thanks for the presentation. I couldn't understand the minting process. The token mints when a transaction happens, like selling action happens, or?
No, at regular intervals, let's say 1 month, we measure the size of the reward pool over that period, and if it has grown, then more Sweetcoins are released. If it has not grown, then nothing happens.
I have a question. Maybe it's not interesting for everybody, so free answer or not. I was working for Crypto-Bridge, and there is a dispute concerning Bridge coin going on. Do you have anything to say about this?
For those who are not familiar with the project, the Bridge coin is our stable coin, and there has been a prior bridge coin prior to us, so I'm not in the know about this dispute, but sorry for that.
Hey, thank you. Really enjoyed the presentation. So you talked a lot about like rewards programs for different people, sort of interacting with economies at the moment. How much of a focus do you guys have on that, like consumer to walking in and buying a coffee versus sort of like large scale supply chain infrastructure?
The first focus is on corporates and their corporate customers. One thing, use case would be Lufthansa and their Lufthansa cargo customers, which are all corporates. And this is probably one of our first use cases. But nothing speaks against doing a B2C as well. It's just a B2B is less cell work, and it is less expensive to get €1 with a B2B system than to get €1 with a B2C system.
Hi, I didn't quite get where the token gets its intrinsic value from. I understand that it is derived from the reward pool, but who does contribute to it first?
The reward pool is filled by the sellers giving away a percentage of, I don't know if I'll be able to scroll back. Nope. Yeah, just, here we are, almost there. Here it is. Okay, so what we can see here is that the seller contributes a percentage of their revenue to the rewards pool, and the buyer gets back a percentage of what they put in. So let's take an example. You spend €100 buying something from the network, and other people at the same day spent also €100, and the total in the reward pool is 10% of everything that was spent. It is €1,000. So 100 customers, €100 each, have spent in that day in the rewards pool. Now the rewards pool needs to be distributed. Fast forward 30 days later, all the Sweetcoin are still activated, nothing has changed. You had 20% of those Sweetcoins. So you would get 20% of these €1,000 that exist in the reward pool. And I, who have only 5% activated, I will get only 5%. So we can actually compute at the time of spending, or at the end of the day of the spending, let's say, that how much of the reward pool we will get if nothing changes. But what we cannot predict is what will change, because you are still free to take out your Sweetcoin, to sell them, and to go to a nice vacation, because you have so many. And then you forfeit your reward, and I don't have 5% anymore, I have 7.5%, and I get more. Did I answer your question? Thank you.
So I have a question. Earlier today in the block science talk, we heard about their theoretical approach to token economics and how they try different models and test them. So you were quite specific about your formula. For example, you mentioned a cap of 10%. How do you know the best number is not 8.9 or 11.2? Or how did you come up with your precise formula, and did you test it against other variations?
This formula has been tested. The numbers I mentioned today are not final. They still need to be refined, and you're right, the correct percentage of distribution might be 8.93 or whatever, and this will be decided in the coming month. But this system is not in production yet, and hence I can make up numbers as I want.
Maybe related to that, would you think those numbers that define the objective function of the network should be under governance, or should be like fixed on launch? Right
now, they will be fixed. It it is a goal of the Sweetbridge Foundation to transition to a governance model where the participants in the foundation, in the alliance, sorry, can decide this kind of thing, but we're not there yet.
Hi. So you've described the background, the technical part, but I was wondering, how does this look like from consumer standpoint? You mentioned staking coins, buying off markets. So what's the entry barrier for a customer to get into your system?
The same way, so if I understand the question correctly, is how does a consumer get into the system?
Yeah, but basically, currently you get a card at the retail store, so you just check in your card each time you take a
and that's
purchase.
the same
now,
way you
staking
would get...
tokens, not
No, no,
staking
no.
tokens.
The staking tokens is a technical detail that the average user would not need to care about, not at the beginning at least. So you can imagine that as you get a customer card and it is initialized with one Sweetcoin as a welcoming gift, and that's all you need to know. And every time you spend something, you will get 0.01 Sweetcoin more or whatever. And at some point in time, you might get interested in how does this thing work, and you log into your consumer account and you see, oh, I could actually transfer these, and I can buy something for the value of these coins. And so you need to get interested in what you can do with it in order to do something else, but you don't need to do anything special to actually start using it.
So the card should. So the card is basically a paper wallet at the beginning, where you get your coins. Okay, thank you.
There was a question there.
Yeah, let's do one more question and then...
I think it's a short question. So the reward, as I think I understood, is the function of the amount of Sweetcoin I hold, right?
Correct.
And is it also a function of the amount of money I spend? Because if not, I can just spend €1 each period to be eligible for the rewards and I just hold 10% Sweetcoin, or?
Exactly. So you can spend just a minimal amount. Let's say you hold 10% of the Sweetcoins in circulation. You have activated them and you spend just €1. You will get €1 out of it, because the maximum you can get out of it is what you spent. But if you hold 10% of Sweetcoins, you can probably spend quite a lot for free.
Thank you. This was very enlightening. Let's give it up for Micha.